What's going on, Hungry for Happiness global community? How are you, ladies? Thank you so much for having me on this live video. Tonight I want to talk about a topic that I should have been talking about, and I get to do that tonight, and I hopefully get to shed some light for any of you who are coaches and work with clients who cut themselves. And I apologize for, I've lost my voice a little bit. Hopefully it comes back in the next day or so. And also, if you want more background on me, my name is Leanne Price. My company is called the L3 Method, and you can check it out at l3method.fit. Essentially, I'm a fitness coach. Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you cutting from a cutter's perspective. Originally, I had enrolled a friend of mine, a good friend who's a licensed therapist who works with patients, clients who have to come out of that destructive habit pattern as well. And she couldn't be here tonight. So she has a lot of great terminology and rhetoric and so much experience, valuable experience working with men and women who cut themselves. So I will not be able to offer from that perspective. I will simply be able to tell you what my objectives were when I used to cut myself. Okay, so super taboo, right? I started doing this at 16 years old. I stopped doing it at 17 years old. I am 36 years old now, and I have not cut myself since I graduated high school and went to college. I made two promises. I made a promise to my high school boyfriend that I wouldn't cut myself anymore, and I made a promise to my new college roommate when I was in my freshman dorm. She was a brand new person in my life, went on to become my best friend, and she, said, I don't want to come home to a bloody bathroom. I said, I get it. No problem. So let's go over first, why do women cut? I don't even want to speak into men because I'm not a man, but I'll say for me, and every woman of course is different as well. But for me, from my singular perspective, it was a way for me to achieve a release. I had gotten to a point where I had so much built up frustration and emotion, and I had no way of getting it out. So contrary to popular belief, this is what my licensed therapist friend told me, people think that, or there's a common misconception that those who cut do so to self-harm. And that's actually not it at all. We're not trying to harm. I guess, we are harming ourselves, but there isn't an intent to end our lives. It's not a suicide attempt in many cases. I'm not going to speak for all, but people who cut horizontally instead of vertically, we're not cutting to kill ourselves. We're cutting for a release. Sometimes it's a cry for help. Sometimes it's so that someone can notice what we're doing. So I would just cut my wrists and then I would cover them up with fancy bracelets so I could go back to school and no one would notice. I originally heard about this from a friend in high school who said she was doing it. And she and I had a similar pattern. Now I look back, I didn't think of this at the time, didn't recognize this, but if women are disconnecting or numbing out, a lot of women who are going to listen to this video emotionally eat or binge eat, and you do that to numb, you do that to disconnect. So you feel things very strongly and you want to disconnect from those feelings. Cutting is almost the opposite, and again, I'm only speaking from my own perspective. I was so disconnected. I was raised to be the ultimate lone wolf. I was raised to be very much alone, and I was raised to be very empathetic and extremely keyed in to others' emotions and be 3 steps ahead, anticipating what that person needed next before they even knew. I was excellent. I was very skilled because of that was my survival tactic to continue to receive love when I was young. But I was also encouraged in totally nonverbal ways to have no emotions or feelings myself. They got in the way. They were too big. They had no place here. I fantasized about being a robot and having no emotions so that I could keep the train running, so that I could move forward with the game plan from my head, right? And try to cancel all this out because it just got in the way, right? So cutters are kind of the opposite of binge eaters in this way. Again, I will reiterate, binge eaters, emotional eaters, they feel and it hurts and they don't want to feel, so they disconnect and numb out with food. Cutters are disconnected. They're completely numb. In my case, I had a big hole in my chest. I couldn't access my own feelings. Again, empathetic. I could clue into everyone else's emotions. I couldn't figure out what I was feeling. And I was desperate to feel something. I was desperate to get back in my body and ground down and feel and have an experience. Have an experience in some way. So, hi, Kristen. So, when you cut, you get present immediately because there's something 911 to attend to observe, to watch, to feel. So I saw and felt the blood, and I felt the pain, like the searing singe of pain, and it got me right back into that moment, and I could feel and I could focus and I could concentrate on that feeling. And it was like I was releasing it out of my body. Also, I felt very disconnected and very angry with myself because a lot of the chaos that was going on around me as I was growing up, I felt and I created a belief in my system that it was because of me, that I was to blame, and that I was doing things wrong, and that I was a bad person and I was messing up and stuff like that. So when I cut myself, I was like punishing myself because I felt like those around me wanted to. So if I just got it done and I punished myself and I hurt myself, then it was like I felt like, okay, I'm fulfilling others' wishes for making me wrong or making me the reason for all of this chaos. If I just take it out on myself, if I just put that on me, then it can get released and we can get it out. So I don't know if any of this even makes any sense. I just wanted to jump on here and assist and support any of you who work with clients that you coach that have a history of cutting. If they don't cut anymore, that's awesome. Like, I haven't done that since I was 17. But there may be times when your disconnected clients that used to cut will get pushed to an edge where they want to feel, or they don't feel, they don't know what the emotion is, but there's such a big rush of emotion, or not, like energy in their system, and it's so intense that they need to release it somehow. And the energy, guys, oftentimes that they fear most, that they think is inside of them, that makes them unlovable, unworthy of love, that big scary energy, that big thing inside them that they're like, I don't know what this is. It's actually neutral. And this is something I had the privilege of finding out through another process that I don't have time to get into today. But that energy is neutral. What's hurting them and hurting everyone else around them are their avoidance tactics from facing that energy, that thing that's inside of them that wants to come out. So I hope this makes sense. And what was I going to say? Even though I didn't do this, I still was hurting myself in other ways, and I didn't realize it because it's permissible by society. So I was running myself, over exercising, going so hard with physical movement to just because I would feel that rush come up and I would want to avoid it. So I knew I had to go exercise to like drain it out. Otherwise, I would yell at somebody and cause someone else pain, right? What's aggression? Aggression is anger, which can be healthy, without the emotional responsibility. It's like an immature way of displacing your anger on others. So if some people run the aggressive pattern and they used to cut, another way in which they will avoid or get the pain out is just pushing it onto someone else. Or our chronic overexercises, this is another alternate way. And it's different, but there's still not the intention to celebrate their bodies, enjoy them, and love them for all they are and all that they do. There's still the intention of self-punishment, the intention of, it coming from a place of fear as opposed to abundance. So these are maybe hopefully some tactics and signs and things to help out with and to look for, and just cues to get into a former or a current cutter's mind and just say, hey, I relate to you. I see you. I see you. I see your pain. I see how big your heart is and how much it wants to come out. And I see your greatness. And you're safe. You don't have to do this to yourself. You're safe to feel a different way. You're safe to evoke emotion a different way. You're safe to get present using other tools. Okay, I don't know how long I've been going for. I hope that was helpful. Oh, thank you, Selena. I love you. Okay, have a good night, guys.